Good evening, everybody, and this is Miguel Fuentes, and welcome to the My Lead System Pro, My Dream Team Freedom Friday. Tonight we have a very, very special guest on with us tonight. This is Miss Jen Johnson. She's joining us here on our hangout this evening, and I got to brag on her a little bit because I've been watching her on Facebook, and I went and checked out her blog and been reading some stuff about her, and this lady's doing the do. She's has just been getting on it. She's recently named My Lead System Pro Member of the Month, which if you're not familiar with what that means, that just means you're getting some serious attention. You're getting some massive traction in your business moving forward. And I got to be honest, every single member of the month that we have interviewed on this hangout has gone on to do incredibly huge things. Like, oh my gosh, we've had Antonio Thompson on here. We've had Aaron Birch on here. We've had some of the best of rising stars in this industry, in this space, come and hang out with us. Jen is no different. And Jen, how are you this evening? How's it going?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me on here. And I'm just excited to be here and be able to share what I know. And you can hear my crazy kids in the background. Occupational hazard is what I like to call that. So, but yeah, I'm blessed to be here, and thank you so much for the warm introduction. And yeah, I'm ready to rock and roll and share some value tonight. And
absolutely, I'm excited, definitely. You know, Jen, before we really dive into this, I mean, I would love for people to get to know you a little bit more. Like, what's Jen Johnson about? Tell us your story. Where are you from? Where did you come up? How'd you get into this industry?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, I was born, I'm not going to go back to when I was born, but I'm originally from like Central California towards, Stockton, Fresno area. And, I'm a musician at heart. I was born and raised around music. My father's a musician. And so that's always been kind of what I've aspired, but that's been my dream to be in the music industry. And when I was 18, I had my senior grad trip and went to Disneyland, and I'm like, I want to play on that stage. That's so fun. And I actually went back a year later and met the same band that was playing there. And I said, look, I want to do this. How can I do this? And they're like, well, you're going to have to, move out here. And so turns out I went home, got laid off from my job, and they gave me like $600 as like a, token. I'm like, okay, well, this is move out money. So I moved to Southern California and decided to pursue music. And I met some amazing musicians. I did put out an album. I started writing, and then got into like the cover scene of cover bands and doing weddings and stuff like that. And then and the whole time I was in banking. That was my thing. I worked at Bank of America, then I went to a credit union, and it was always just kind of the thing that would, help me be able to do what I really wanted to do, right? And so I just got really burnt out on it and decided to try something new. I got offered to become an account manager for a company, being in charge of all of like AT&T business, B2B salesmen and helping them out. And that just kind of took a turn a year later, and they had to do layoffs again. And I'm like, okay, now I'm 31, 32. I'm like, I have 2 kids. I'm married. I need to do something. I just always knew I was meant to do more. And, but the whole time, I was exposed to network marketing when I was 19, when I was working at the credit union. One of the gals there introduced me to what she was doing. And then, I kind of dabbled with it, and I liked the idea of it. And then I used the product for a long time and kind of just fell out of it. And then found another company a few years later and got into that. And that was my spamming years, my years of just spamming people, because we all go through that, right? And how it's just going to change your life, and it's the first message you send. Like, that was me. And
I got a website. That means
my initial messages were this long, and so yeah. And I wasn't really. It was funny though, because I did have a lot of customers, but I wasn't really building a team, and I just was so frustrated. So I was like, whatever. I put that back on the burner, and then I'm like, that's it. I'm just done. I'm just not going to do this anymore. And then when I got laid off from that last job, I came on Facebook and saw this new product, and I'm like, all right, I'm not going to join, but I'm going to ask some questions about this because it looks pretty cool, you know? And yeah, I ended up signing up after I got off the phone. And like before getting off the phone, I'm like, all right. So I was in school. I decided to go back to school once I got laid off to do court reporting. And then that was going really well. It wasn't like a true passion, but I enjoyed it. It was cool. And then the company I'd signed up with, it was a time, I really attribute it to timing. You know, the company was in a really prime time. And I did grow a good sized team of 1,500. And, but then, you know, it wasn't really, you know, it wasn't really a passion. And I actually was exposed to MLSP towards getting out towards the time of when I was thinking about walking from that company. And, you know, let's see, from there, I just started learning. I mean, the whole time I was in the last company, I was really exposed to attraction marketing and was like, okay, I get it. And I kind of saw a bigger vision of like, gosh, all these leaders do these webinars and they sell their own products. And I'm like, what do I got to do to make that happen? Like, let's do a webinar for 60 minutes and make a few grand, you know, that sounds good. So, yeah, so I just started learning attraction marketing, and I was actually doing video marketing for a whole year prior to joining MLSP. But I wasn't, you know, I was just kind of doing it the way I was, just following and shadowing people. But got into MLSP, took the trial, and I signed up 4 people in my trial period. I didn't hit L1 because they didn't all stay. And after that, I had decided to, you know, step back from the company I was with and kind of put MLSP on hold and was figuring out my next move. And I don't know, I just, for whatever reason, the network marketing companies, I was just having a hard time finding my passion. Like, what am I going to really be passionate about? And I just learned through MLSP, I love teaching. Like, I love, my passion is like teaching people how to like be a good marketer, you know? And, you know, and I'm still building and still want to have another company and working on that side of it. But my true passion is just helping anybody and everybody shorten their learning curve, because once I got into MLSP, everything changed. I mean, my mindset, my outlook, my vision, my marketing plan, like everything just, it was so different. And I just know if I would have known 12 years ago what I know now, I mean, you know, I always tell Aaron Birch, I'm like, you're so lucky. You just found MLSP right away. Like, that's just not fair, you know, because it's true. I mean, you know, if you just put it in front of the right person that has a long-term vision of where they're headed. And, you know, I got a lot of flack from my friends, my family. My husband was always very supportive, but my parents would give me a hard time. My sister would give me a hard time. And I can't now, that's a hilarious story because she's actually now in network marketing. So, as of recently, which is hilarious. So I'm really, okay, you're doing this. That's interesting. So, but yeah, so that's kind of my story. I came in and I dove in, and I want to give you guys some really good value of, I think a lot of people come into MLSP and they have the instant overwhelm, the instant, where do I go? What do I do? You have an immediate abundance of training and information at your fingertips. And it's, you have to still come up with the plan. And I get that a lot, that people just feel all over the place, right? I don't know, you can probably see the chat or the comments, but I don't know if anybody's agreeing or anything, but.
No comments yet there. Guys, if you have any questions, I mean, if you have any questions or you want to know more about what Jen is sharing here, definitely throw a comment down in there. Just put it down in there. I'll check it out. I'll relay that to her, and she can answer you right here, right now. I mean, that's what she's here. You heard her yourself. She loves to teach. It's the perfect mindset for My Lead System Pro and for attraction marketing. So if any of you guys love to teach, you're in the right place. So Jen, go ahead.
I think with anything that you do, it's important that you teach and you use that method Ray Higdon uses, invest, learn, teach, with whether you're in health and wellness, whether you're in skincare or travel or whatever, you always want to be in student mode, but you also always want to be in the mindset that whatever I'm about to learn, I'm going to go teach this to my target audience, right? So, so I want to help you guys tonight just avoid that overwhelm. And I'll tell you the way that I brought in 4 people in 10 days, because I really want to help create a roadmap for that. I didn't know anything about lead pages or funnelizers or capture systems, or I mean, I knew of them. I just didn't know how to use them. Or all I asked my sponsor was, how do I send people that video that you sent me? Like, that's what I needed to know, because that's all I did know. I knew she sent me that video. I knew I needed that video. So that was my tool for the first 10 days. I didn't know anything else. I didn't watch any training other than, like, I don't even think I watched my getting started training. That's probably bad. But I didn't. I was just like, I wanted to make MLSP work. I didn't really, you know, I wanted it to pay for itself sooner than later. And so what I did was, instead of like reaching out to cold market network marketers, I just thought, you know, I'm going to invite some of the people that I know in network marketing that you know, there's always people you're chatting with that you know are struggling, that are just, you know, friends of yours, or maybe they're in another company, but you talk and you share ideas. And so I just went to those people and was like, oh my gosh, I found this system. I had no script. I'm like, it's awesome. It's going to help me build my business. And you should totally check it out. I know we're both kind of trying to figure this thing out here. So if you want, you know, let's do it together. You know, I didn't really have a method or like an approach, or I was just excited. You know, I just fed off my excitement of finding the tool. And I think sometimes people get stuck because they think, well, how do I say it? Or how do I answer this question? Or when you really just understand what MLSP can do and what tools they provide to a network marketer that a network marketing company doesn't provide, it just fills a huge gap. I call it the missing link. I call it getting your degree in online marketing. You know, when people tell me it's too expensive, I say college is more. So, you know, it's just all perspective. You know, I was paying a lot more to go to school. So with anything you do, if you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, a dancer, you're going to pay. You're going to pay for classes. You're going to pay. And I was that person that was always showing up to free webinars, right? I always loved the free webinar. And then it would get to like the product that they're selling. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm done. And I just like close it out. You know, if you're going to go to college, you can't just keep showing up to orientation. You have to eventually take classes, right? Free webinars are like orientation day all the time. Like, you're going to get some information, but you're not going to get the building blocks. You're not going to, it's just like in my interview I did with MLSP, there's that saying, you know, there's no elevator to success. You have to take the stairs. I'm like, no, there is an elevator. It's called MLSP. Like, MLSP is your elevator. It really is. But elevators are more expensive to build. So you have to be able to be willing to invest a little bit into yourself and have a long-term vision, so that way you can go out there and create real results and not just get the first layer from all the free stuff that's floating around.
That is awesome. I absolutely love that. Jen, I mean, I got to ask you a question. I mean, I've spent some time on your blog recently just preparing for this interview and learning more about you, and I loved the way that your blog looked. That's meetjenjohnson.com, right?
Yeah, meetjenjohnson.com.
Absolutely. I love that. And I would love for you to kind of let people know why it's important to have a personal brand the way that you do, and the way, because most network marketing companies, they aren't teaching this kind of stuff. They're not teaching you how to build yourself and build you as a business. So like, yeah.
Yeah, it's really not their job to do that. You know, network marketing companies, they're there to focus on their product, and they don't teach online marketing strategies because they have you. You're the one that has to figure that out. You know, you're the marketer. but you still need to develop those skills. However, they're not there to teach you those skills. You have to figure those out. And that's again, where MLSP is that missing link that will help you do that. And, it's the branding, and it's really a process. It's a journey. Even for me, I'm always trying to tap more into that. And as you start to learn, you start to create your own little products and your own free giveaways, and you just kind of start to define yourself. But you really I think sometimes people get confused because they have their network marketing company and MLSP. So it's like, what do I do? Like, do I talk about both? And I always just say it depends. For me, I am in a network marketing company, but I was already building my brand towards just helping attraction marketing network marketers, and so, helping them, providing value about how to build your business on social media and all that stuff. So for me to go online and do like a Facebook Live and demonstrate my product to my target audience that are already in network marketing, it would be like, you have to think of your audience, But if you've been in health and wellness and that's really what you're known for, but you've just been branding your company, just stop doing that and start providing just genuine and general value about health and wellness. Because if you think of someone like Jillian Michaels, right? She's the Biggest Loser chick.
Yep.
And, people know her for that. They don't know her for any specific products. I mean, they know she has products, but they just know to go to her for health and wellness, for getting fit. They can YouTube her, they can whatever, and Google and figure it out. It's like she's just built up a brand around health and wellness. And that's what you would need to do for any niche that you're in. For me, it's still a work in progress. I think for me to go out and, like I said, push my product on my page would be a big no-no for me to do, because my audience won't receive it well. So what you can do is you can start a separate fan page. And when you start that separate fan page for that business, or if you're using MLSP as a backend system, start a fan page for MLSP as a backend system. I use MLSP as a front end system. It's the main thing that I focus on, and through that I end up building my team with my other company. But yeah, just start a separate fan page if you feel that would make more sense, and drive the right audience to that page, because you don't want to confuse. Now, if you're new, say you're a new, you're kind of starting fresh, and like you haven't really defined yourself either way, I think it's safe to kind of do both. If you're in skincare and cosmetics, you can do beauty tips to build your beauty business, and maybe attraction market to beauty reps and to people in skincare and how to build their business in that niche. You can really target in more. So there's a lot of different ways to do it, but it is important to really figure that part out. Like, what do you want to be known for? If someone's in need of something, what are they going to you for? Because then you can start providing value centered around that and attracting the people that want what you have to offer, instead of just pushing product all the time,
Makes sense. It makes absolute sense. You want to be known as the expert. You want to be the go-to person for that thing. Like you mentioned Jillian Michaels, and I've seen diet pills with Jillian Michaels' name on them.
Yeah. And
they're way marked up over the other diet pills because they're Jillian Michaels, right? And people trust her. They like her, so they buy that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's an amazing point. Jen, let's get into your content for this evening. What else did you have for us?
So that was it. That's it. I'm done. Just kidding.
I'm done. Okay, good night.
So yeah, avoiding overwhelm. You want to pick a strategy. And what I see happen a lot with people that come into MLSP is that it's so much easier to focus on the passive marketing. It's easy to go out there and focus on posting in groups, and some people create videos, but maybe you're focusing on making all your images, and that's all the non-income producing activities. I mean, passive marketing is it can be an income producing activity, but you have to pair it with your proactive marketing and prospecting. So, you know, but what I see happen is that people come in, instant overwhelm, and they don't actually pick one strategy. I mean, Brian says pick one, just Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter. And I remember when the Twitter training came out and the Snapchat training came out, everybody's like, oh, Snapchat me, Jen, add me on Snapchat. I'm like, dude, I'm not even on Snapchat. Like, I'm just, you know, I didn't, you have to have that laser focus, that, because things are always going to fly. I mean, right now there's Mark Harvard's training. I just bought Tanya Eliza's training. I'm doing Ray Higdon's 3-minute expert. I mean, there's just so much stuff all the time that you have to just know what your focus is, because I can get everywhere. I can't be on Twitter, Snapchat, Pinterest, Periscope, and Facebook. I'll lose my mind. So for me, I just really like to I'm on Facebook. You can find me there. And I was telling you before we got on, I'm on Instagram, but you know what? I'm reevaluating that, because I get a ton of likes and comments, and that's awesome, but it's not converting. So is it really worth me spending my time there when I'm getting all my results on Facebook? You have to really think about what's working for you and what's not what's cool and trending in the marketplace, right? You have to think of where your results are coming from. And I remember Diane Hockman saying this on a post that, you know, if you're not getting results in a social media platform, adding another one's not going to help you. Because typically what you want to do is you want to build up a huge audience on one. That way, when you go to another one, you can tell that audience and they will follow you there. So it's not like you're trying to kill yourself building audiences all over the place. They'll just follow you to that other one.
Yep.
So that's a main thing. Focus on, and immediately, if you're looking to get into profit mode, Ray Higdon talks about this, you need to be prospecting. I brought in 4 people, not from building a blog. We didn't even have the blogging platform when I signed up, but I didn't build a blog until I hit L2. And the blog was already out for a while. I think it was out for a few months, but I knew you have to know when you take on something that you have to commit to it and be consistent with it. And I knew blogging was going to be one of those things that if you're not consistent, you'll kill it before it starts. So I didn't do it. You just have to really learn to embrace evolving naturally and know that, yeah, Ray's doing everything on every platform, but he also has a team of people helping him. Yeah. You know, it's like, so you can't compare the chapter that you're at right now to what these leaders are doing, even though you want to follow what they're doing and copy it and mock it or, you know, shadow it. You have to do it at a pace that makes sense for you to get results. Because even in the beginning, Ray says that he was a prospecting maniac. And if you go back to the beginning dates of his blog, he talks about, you know, look at the beginning of his blog. It was a work in progress for him. Even when I started my blog, it wasn't like the way that it looks now. It was a little different, and I had to spend some time deciding how I wanted it to look. I just knew I needed to get it up. So focus on the right activities. If you're looking to get in profit mode, there's no faster way than just starting conversations with people. Waiting to generate leads is also something I don't do. I don't really focus. I mean, I do generate them, but I honestly, like, I'm so busy talking to the people that just reach out to me that's my priority is those people, because I'm having the instant conversation. And a lot of times the way I generate leads are after the fact. They're after the fact leads, after I've already talked to them, after I've already made that connection. If you don't have a newsletter funnel, like through Funnelizer, I suggest you guys can check mine out if you want, just to see what I'm talking about. It's the diamondlab.info is my newsletter funnel form. And basically it's just a place for people to opt into, and it's so they go onto my list and get my emails, my newsletter emails. So when I'm talking to people, especially if they're wanting additional tips and advice, and if I'm going to spend my time on it, I want to make sure they're going to get more value after I leave. So I always ask, hey, by the way, are you on my newsletter? Do you get my newsletters when I send them out on, via email? No. Here's my email address. Like, they just give it to me. Here's my email address. Like, because if you're putting out the value, you're doing your passive marketing, they want that information from you. So it's not like you're having to pull teeth. Sometimes they'll say, oh, no, I'm not. And I'll say, oh, cool. Well, if you want more info after we're done here, shoot me your email address. I'll throw you on there so you can be, I always email about free webinars and tips and videos that I do so that you can learn more. And you're never going to hear someone say, no, I don't want your free information to help me.
I don't want your free helpful stuff.
I don't want that. So just ask people. I think that's where people get a little freaked out, is they're afraid to ask. And it just in a casual way, like, by the way, are you on my newsletter? And having that helps out a lot, because maybe you don't get into a conversation about free training yet, if you do, that's great. You can send them one of the free campaigns, but it's nice to have the newsletter because, again, it gets them seeing your face, your picture, your funnel. And I put a free offer on the other side of it. I'm in the middle of making a new one that basically will funnel them to take a test drive with MLSP. And it's basically my way of showing people how I broke through in my business. And it's just a little slideshow presentation that I made. And so you can do free giveaways. You can tie a free Facebook cheat sheet to the other side of your funnel if you want to. So when they opt in, it goes to that and they can take the test drive. I mean, you just constantly want to be gradually, you invite them on, they opt in. Oh, now there's this. Oh, now there's this. And you're just constantly pointing to where they just can't not join.
They're like, I love Jen. She's awesome. I'm going to do this thing.
Yeah. So having a newsletter is helpful. Diane Hockman is the queen of email marketing. So I recommend Twist Your List if you're looking to build that kind of a thing up. She's the one that I learned a lot of that from. So be the go-to, pick a strategy.
Guys, I just want to make a quick point. Jen said some things in there that were, I just want to clarify a few things for you guys. The blog that she's talking about, what she said, they didn't have Sites then. Like, Sites is a new blogging platform that My Lead System Pro has added to the membership, but they didn't increase the price of the membership. So now every single member of MLSP has their own personalized blog. And believe me, I'll tell you, I've built blogs from the ground up before, and it's not easy, and it is expensive. From the ground up with nothing, it's really expensive. So definitely keep that in mind. And she also mentioned Funnelizer. If you're not familiar with that, what that is a way to create custom capture pages that brand you. So just like Jen is doing, she created a free offer, a free giveaway using Funnelizer software, which is also included in the membership of My Lead System Pro. So I just wanted to make that quick point real quick for everybody who's watching this right now.
Yeah. I even saw my girl Keisha Bass, L5 leader, is starting to build her site with MLSP Sites. She's starting to build her blog now. And I just loved that she posted that yesterday. I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you, because I've been talking to my team and other people like, look, L5 leader is just now building her blog, like just now. So like when people come in their first 10-day trial, I'm building my blog. I'm like, no, like not no, don't do it, but let's get you in profit mode. Your blog is not going to get you in profit mode in 10 days. It's just not. So I'm all about helping people. I would love to help people just hit L1 in their first 10 days and just knock it out.
That's pretty incredible.
Now let's build your blog.
Now you've got time. Your membership is paid for. Let's do the blog.
Really, 97% of people in network marketing struggle. You need to find 4 of them. 4 that are struggling, that are dying to take their business to the next level, and they will do what it takes to make that happen. So talk to 40. Tell 40 people about what you've just discovered, and 4 will come on board, just out of sheer excitement, just out of you being excited, not really caring about how you're saying it, what you're saying. Don't over talk. Just say, you know what? I don't even know. I just know that this system is, people are crushing it inside of here. They're learning how to market their business online because our company has no online marketing strategies. So I watched this video. If you want to watch it, I'll show it to you. You know, I'm very casual with people. Even when they tell me their issues, I'll just say, hey, you know, I have something that'll help you with that. I can show it to you if you want. That's my main thing. I can show it to you if you want.
If you want.
They're gonna say, no, I don't want you to show that to me. No, they're like,
sure, send it over. Yeah, I'll check it out.
I can show it. Like, I let them tell me what they're struggling with first, because I can't cover the holes in their boat if I don't know what they are. And honestly, it's not, I already know what they are. I've gotten to the point where I already know what they are. They don't have capture pages. They don't have an email list. They have a list that they're building on a piece of paper. And I literally am like, you know, can you crumble this piece of paper up and throw it in the garbage? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, that's about as valuable as that list is. Like, you need a list online that you can get in front of every single day and build a relationship with that person. And, you know, I'll tell them, well, how do you know who's viewing your site? I don't. I'm like, I know. Like, I already know that, but I need to make them know that, right? So by asking them these questions, like, think of the tools that we have. Like, oh, you know, when you're talking to people, do you have a blog? No. Do you have a capture page? No. Do you, you know, are you building an email list? No. So how are you marketing your business? You know, because, and they start to feel like, dang, like, this person knows what they're talking about. Like, do I need this stuff? Like, they start to, now they're seeing it, right? Because you already know the majority of the people don't have these tools. If they did, they'd all be in MLSP. Yeah. So you have to just ask them the questions that make them realize, because it's not about me saying, hey, I found something that's working amazing for me. So do you want to see, you know, let me know if you want to see it. Make them want to see it by asking them those questions that make them feel like they're coming up short, and not in a mean way. Like, you don't want to make them feel bad about themselves, but you're just asking genuine questions that make them realize, shoot, maybe this is why I'm struggling. You know? So, and
my
then
husband told me to do this.
Yeah. Now that you know, I can show you a blueprint if you want. I can show you a whole system that will give you those things if you want. And then it's like, yes, please. You know, so it's kind of that's kind of my system.
That's awesome. I love that. I love the casualness of that. Like,
yeah.
Like, for me, it's like, I never send people away with my links, which is like really common for people to do. Well, they do it to me all the time. They're like, take this link now. But that way, like, that person is curious. You're creating all that curiosity with the people you're talking to, and they just, like you said, they can't resist. Like, I just want to know what you're doing.
Well, what's funny too, so I take it a step further, because then you're getting excited when they say yes, right? They're like, yes, I want to see it. So I don't send it. I don't say, great, let me grab it for you right now. I say, perfect. Let me know when you have 20 minutes and I'll send it to you. I don't even give it. I'm like making them hang on the ledge, because sometimes they'll say, oh yeah, send it over and I'll look at it tomorrow after work. I'll say, actually, why don't you just message me when you have 20 minutes and I'll send it over to you so I can be sure I can answer your questions when you're done. I don't send it. I never send it. Not until, I'm telling you, 99% of the time, they'll message back and say, like, at that time, okay, I have 20 minutes now. I'm ready. Like, right when, and I know they're ready because they waited, right? I wasn't going to give it to them. So, because once you give it to them, you've put the ball in their court. Like, now they're in control. And now you're doing the whole, have you watched it yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? And I don't, it just makes your follow-up a heavy follow-up, right?
It really does.
To avoid like the heaviness of follow-up, what's that? Oh, thanks. To avoid the heaviness of follow-up, I just make them wait. And that's a Tanya Eliza trick, by the way. I can't take credit for that one.
That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, love it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Jen, at what point, I guess you kind of just feel out a conversation to kind of figure out where a person's at, particularly like you mentioned the strategy before of just asking them about their email, can I send you an email? That kind of way, like where do you kind of put them? Like what are some indicators for you that says this person is a fit, I'm ready to start moving forward with them?
I think just by their enthusiasm, by how interested they are and how they're talking. I never really want to just get, like, especially because some people will say, well, I'll take the 10-day trial, but I probably, I don't know if I'll be able to continue after. I'm like, well, then I wouldn't do it, I really like to set an expectation with people and say, look, you need to have a long-term vision because Rome wasn't built in a day and it isn't built in 10 days either. So, I want to prepare them that it can take I'm like, look, give it 90 days, give it 3 months. Expect that you may have to invest a little bit to get the ball rolling. Doesn't mean it won't get rolling sooner, but I want to, under promise and over deliver. So I always set the expectation and I just feel it out, because when you start to put out a lot of content, your like chatter or your initial building rapport doesn't really happen. You don't really get into it as much because really people start just reaching out to you, asking you questions and wanting to know more about what you do. So you kind of dive into the actual meat and potatoes of the whole thing pretty quickly because of the fact that you've just built up your authority with what it is that you're doing. So it makes it easier.
Absolutely.
In the beginning, it wasn't like that. You do have to just, find out where people are at and they're talking about their kids or, whatever they're talking about. But as you build more and more and more of an authority, it becomes a lot easier. So that's why it's so important to be consistent when nobody's watching. And that's the hardest part because you're like, man, nobody's watching.
Why do I keep doing this?
It's like, really, I had many conversations with God. I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, why did you put this opportunity in my path again? I don't understand. I keep coming back to it. But, I just stuck it out. And, like Lisa Torres, my mentor, Lisa Torres, she was talking about that on a webinar we did. You have to go through the rain to get to the rainbow. You have to, but dance in it. Don't just stand there and be like, man, I'm wet. Just dance in it and have fun. And yeah, there's gonna be days you just feel wet. That sucks.
Wet and soggy.
You just want to take a hot bath and go to sleep. Like,
right.
But you have to. Everybody has to go through that. And as much as I'm like, man, I struggled for 11 years, it really helped me find my passion for what I really want to do because I was going from company to company and just like not feeling fulfilled. And then when I found this, it's like, this is what I love to do. This is what I want to do. So
I absolutely can appreciate that. That's awesome. That's awesome.
And let's be honest, if you were to come in and, I hit L5 in 10 days, like, who's going to be inspired by that? People are going to be intimidated like crazy and be like, well, I'm never going to be able to do that, So, having that tough story and it's inspiring. That's what you want to share. You want to share. And I used to hate sharing my story. Like I was really weird about it. MLSP and being member of the month, that's the first time I've ever really like put my story out in public like that, other than my blog or whatever that, I don't know how many people have seen that, but, now I talk about it more freely. Like, yeah, I did struggle for 11 years off and on, and it was a love-hate relationship and it sucked, but if you're really passionate about it and you really love what you're doing, you just don't let anything get in your way,
Absolutely. There's a huge difference between that passion and excitement. A lot of people really do get very excited. They start something new, they get a new opportunity, they get a new idea, they get excited. It's natural, it's normal, it happens. But when you have that passion, when you really have it in your gut, you can't wait to do it. You wake up in the morning and you just want to be doing that. It's the thing you think about all day long. So I totally get that. I appreciate that. Absolutely. I mean, there's a huge, huge difference. Yeah, that's awesome.
Absolutely. And the newness for your company will wear off. And, I guess, okay, sorry, my husband, I'm like, where are my kids going? Then, like, coming into a company, you're excited, it's new, and it's new product, and you haven't told anybody about it. So, but the newness wears off. Like, you still have to find a way to ignite your fire. And that's where events come in. I mean, Live the Dream is coming up. I'm telling you guys, I get chills thinking about what's happening at Live the Dream. I mean, and even this Wednesday's webinar, I'm telling you,
Yep.
Save your seat, fasten your seatbelt. It's going to be insane. And I haven't been to an event in a really long time. So for me, it's been hard because it's like you need that fuel. You need something to light that fire again. And going to events and honestly, being an entrepreneur, you're working by yourself a lot. I mean, you can do hangouts and chat but it's like, gosh, I just would need to be around some adults. Like, I'm with these kids, and I just need to get out of my house. And so it's like, Live the Dream is going to be a vacation for me.
Absolutely. I love the events. From the Live the Dreams that I've been to, like, the biggest thing I always take away is just being around the leaders, like the people who are really doing it, and just observing how they're talking, the things they talk about, what they say, like how they carry themselves personally. It's really eye-opening, and it rubs off on you like immensely. Like last year, I missed making L1 by like a point or two right before Live the Dream last year, and went there, did the thing, hit L1 within a week or two after getting back.
Yeah.
So it really does just absolutely, it's completely essential. I'm super excited for this year though. What do you know? Do you know any secrets?
Oh gosh. I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, obviously we all know there's some stuff coming up that MLSP is going to be blowing out of the water. We've been getting the emails and all the coaching and that stuff that's happening. But yeah, I mean, I'm just excited to see. I just want to surround myself with the people, like you said. I mean, it's weird. I feel like they're all celebrities at this point. Because
They really are.
I've been watching them. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's Mark Harper. And I'm gonna be like that giddy little person walking Hollywood Boulevard, like, oh my gosh, it's Lisa Torres. And
I love it. It's so interesting because they're just like, Live the Dream is a unique event, and like, it's not like other events where you sit over here and the leaders sit over there and there's a big rope and you can't go across the rope.
Yeah.
It's not like that at all. They just come out and mingle and talk to you, ask you questions. You ask them questions. I remember sitting in the lobby of the hotel and just like, oh, like that's Rob Ford right there, sitting there on the couch, just chatting to a group of about 15 people, giving a little bit of a lecture right there on his free time, just chilling. And I'm like, that's awesome. You just walk up and ask questions.
Yeah.
So cool.
But here's the thing too, being new, like some people think, oh, I can't, they get really shy to message or connect with those leaders on Facebook. I didn't. I've never been that way. Like, even when I was watching the webinars, the free ones, I became so close. There's one mentor I would just message him all the time. I'm just like, you're like my AA sponsor for network. I mean, I just bugged him. I eventually joined him in a company for a little bit, but I just wasn't really into the company or whatever. But I've messaged Diane Hockman. I'm like, I don't get this. Like, in the beginning, I'm like, I don't get it. How do I sell my business stuff in MLSP? I'm confused. She's like, well, then you're not supposed to think of it as two different things. I'm like, but I just don't get it, And I wasn't afraid to tell that to Diane Hockman, and I felt really silly afterwards because, she, told me what to do or whatever. But but that's how you learn, you know, you just, I've messaged Mark Harbert. I've messaged, I don't know. I mean, I messaged Lisa. I mean, I'm in her group or whatever, but I'm just not afraid to get myself and my name out there and just be like, be that go-getter. Like, look, take me under your wing and tell me what you know. And, you know, they'll tell you as much as they want to tell you. And I mean, the worst thing they'll do is not respond, but I've never had that happen with MLSP. I mean, with Diane, with Mark, with whoever, they all respond and they'll give you an answer. So be aggressive with taking the action and figuring it out, you know, and understand that there's going to be roadblocks. You're going to have technical difficulties. I was ready to throw my computer out the window with the technical issues I was having a few weeks ago. And, you know, it's just part of it. You feel better when you get through it. And like, well, that was rough, but moving on, you know.
And what the awesome part is when you have access to leaders like that, they've either had the same problem and solved it, or they know a way around it. So it's amazing.
So, and be resourceful. I really want to encourage people to be resourceful because it's important. You know, it's important to take that on as a leadership role, to know how to tell your people how to be resourceful. And I remember, I'm probably going to do a post about this, but you guys can too. Ray Higdon, I remember him saying, you know, treat your organization as if you already have 100,000 people in it. You know, if people are coming to you asking you every little itty bitty question and you're just in answer mode and customer service mode and and showing people and getting on a call so you can explain it better, and don't be that person because it's going to slow you down and it's not leveraging your time. So now, like when my team has a question, and I feel like it's, you know, something that's going to come up a lot, I'll shoot a video and I'll just show people like, look, this is what you got to do. This is how you do it. So whenever it comes up, I'm like, go watch that video I put in our group. Go, you know, I'm just constantly pointing. You always want to be pointing to save yourself so much time and energy being wasted on something like the technology we have. Using it to leverage your time is just a huge factor so you don't feel that overwhelmed.
Absolutely. That's where a blog is extremely powerful right there.
Yeah.
Like I've seen, it's almost a strategy now to just leverage your blog by creating content people want to consume, even in your conversations. Just like, look, I wrote a blog post about this. Yeah. Here it is. Go check it out. I think it will really help you. Like it just is massive authority having your own blog there. So yeah.
Yeah. And as people start asking you questions because you start putting out all this value, those questions turn into videos. Like today I did a live stream video on just tools and things that I use to make my videos and my graphics. And I gave a lot of different, you know, you can download this and purchase that. And at the end, I threw in a free giveaway and recommended a product. And, you know, I did that because I get that question all the time. How do you make your images? And, you know, what kind of camera do you use? And you know, what's your equipment? And so I just kind of did it behind the scenes of like, look, this is my microphone and this is what I use. And, so, you know, you can just be genuine with people and, you know, it doesn't have to be like super, professional, like, here's my 3 tips and, you know, just talk to people, you know. So
I get that. That is awesome. So Jen, do you have anything else for us this evening? Because we're pushing right at an hour here. Yeah. I want to make sure we get the max value out before we jump off.
Yeah, you know, I'll give you guys a little bit of a DMO real quick here to make your life a little easier, because I think that's the biggest thing that I still focus on, having a really good daily method of operation, because you need to. And a lot of times time is limited. Some people have day jobs and you just need to get the right things in action and stop focusing on the things that aren't going to put you in profit mode. So I did do a blog post on this technique. It's called the Pomodoro technique. And it's an app that you can download. I don't know. It's not called it's called Be Focused. And basically, a Pomodoro is a 25-minute span of time. And you can change it to be 15, but it's typically a 25-minute span of time. So for those of you that do work and your time is limited, it's all about getting laser focused. Overwhelm is an option. It's a choice. You can choose to be overwhelmed or you can choose to be focused. And know that, you're not going to necessarily get your 1,000 things on your to-do list done today. But you got to make sure you're consistent with the things that have to get done every day. So those things, definitely personal development. Read a book. Set your Pomodoro to read for 15 to 25 minutes a day. And it's a timer. It will time you. And while the timer is going, you're doing nothing but that activity. Your phone is off. Your Facebook is off. You're not in front of a TV. You're not answering emails. All you're doing is the activity that you've set for the Pomodoro. And so with personal development.
This is an app you're talking about? This is an app you can download called Pomodoro.
The app is called Be Focused, but the concept it's called the Pomodoro technique.
Okay, got it.
And yeah, you can Google that and that'll show up. But yeah, the app is called Be Focused on iPhone. I don't know about Android, but they probably have it for both. So yeah, you need to be doing personal development every day. I'm talking like mindset, like listen to Diane Hockman. When it comes to mindset, if you're not in the deep abyss, I mean, that's like therapy. Okay. It's crazy. It's good. So personal development is one thing. Then training, you want to set a Pomodoro, and sometimes, maybe you want to do an hour of training a day. You need to decide how much time you can set aside for each thing, but set aside time for training, and maybe you need to do an hour of training. So do, 2 Pomodoros or 3 Pomodoros, but in between each Pomodoro, you take a 5-minute break. So you do a pattern interrupt. You go outside, take a walk, you grab some coffee, you stand up, stretch. You maybe for 5 minutes, you can go in and engage on Facebook for a little bit and just make sure you're keeping up with, your posts or whatever. Just do a pattern interrupt and then come back and finish out, whatever activity or move on to the next one. So training, yeah, the webinars, whatever training you've purchased. And then passive marketing. You need to decide what passive marketing you're going to do. Are you going to run Facebook ads? Are you going to do blogging? Are you going to do video marketing? Are you going to be posting in groups a lot? Like, what's your passive plan, right? Having a passive plan. Once you know that, set a Pomodoro, and focus on that. I'm going to shoot a video and I'm going to edit it. I'm going to upload it to YouTube and put in all my keywords and whatever. And it's going to take me 25 minutes, right? And then prospecting is another thing. You have to be out there talking to people, having prospecting. I mean, I feel like people freak out over that term. So conversations, like go out there and talk to people and make 10 new friends. You can make 10 new friends in 25 minutes. So set a Pomodoro and do that. And then follow up. This is where people really go wrong, is with the follow up. I had a girl, my girl Melissa signed up with me yesterday. She's like, you're the first person in MLSP that has gotten back to me and actually replied to me about reaching out. And, she's reached out to a few people and she's like, some of them said they'd message me back later, but they never did. Follow up is like your lifeline. You have to follow up because it always takes more than one exposure, to build a relationship and, for people to make a decision. So most of the time. So make sure you're setting aside time. I'm going to do a Pomodoro, 25 minutes of follow-up. And I'm telling you guys, you're thinking that's not a long time. My friend Cassie, one of my girls in MLSP, I was telling her to do this with Instagram, like for 25 minutes, go on Instagram and do this, this, and this. She's like, I'm going to get a lot done. That's not going to work. And she messaged me back. She's like, oh my gosh, I got more done in that 25 minutes than I did like doing it for hours, because you're not interrupting yourself with anything else. You're just so laser focused. And then the last thing is team building. Spend some time with your team, spend an hour carving out some time to message them, see how they're doing, set up calls, whatever you got to do. So really personal development, training, passive marketing, prospecting, following up, and team building. That's what you got to be doing.
Fantastic. I love that. That's a great, great tip. I hope you guys are all paying attention. Maybe take some notes on that. If not, rewind it and watch it again. You're going to use it. So very awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jen, for coming out this evening. I really do appreciate it. Everyone who's watching, guys, I got to tell you, MLSP is where it's at. This is the place where things are happening. It's rocking and rolling. Jen is just named Member of the Month. She's a rising star inside this community, so expect big things coming from her. You're going to see it. You'll probably know about it. You'll probably hear about it. It's happening, okay? Every single member of the month that we've had on here has busted through the ranks like you would not believe. So if you're not a member of My Lead System Pro, I'm just going to tell you right now, it's $10. $10 to grab a trial for 10 days, figure out if it's a fit for you. Look around wherever you're at, wherever you're watching this at. If you're watching this on my blog, you're watching this on YouTube, you're watching this on Google+, wherever else you're watching this at, look around. There's a link there. Click that link. Get started. I guarantee it'll be the best decision you ever made for your business.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you. And thank you so much for having me on and crashing your guys' hangout.
No worries. Definitely. Well, Jen, thank you so much. Everybody else, good evening. I am Miguel Fuentes, and we will see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye. Thanks, Miguel.